Hello everyone, my name is Rich Ives and I'm making this documentary because I thought it would be a help to maybe some who might be suffering from some of the same things and some of the same symptoms and having to go through some challenging decisions that you're trying to make. And I actually got this idea from a friend of mine who I met because of his documentary that he made. His name is Chris Collins. And I've been dealing with a herniated disc. As a matter of fact, two herniated discs in my neck between C5 and 6, as well as between C6 and C7. And it actually began roughly about 3 years ago, and kind of came out of nowhere for me, although we think that it probably is something that happened as more of a traumatic event. During my football playing years, I actually played semi-pro ball out of school, and no doubt you have some lingering effects from those fun activities that you end up paying the price for a little bit later in life. But I have two boys who are NCAA athletes at this point in time, who are wrestlers, and one of them is a football player. And 3 years ago, in helping them train to get ready for college and lifting weights, I injured my back, which seemed like it was more pain on the right side, and then it then later kind of traveled more to the left side of my back. And I'm no stranger to injuries. I've had those things many times before. And so I thought it would go away. I thought that within time the pain would subside and I'd be just right back at my normal activities. But the pain seemed to kind of travel. It stayed in the back of my neck, and then before too long it was down into my shoulder blade on the left side, and then down into my shoulder, and from time to time the pain would actually run down my left arm. Some time went by, I would say probably about 6 months of either my trying to not work out and then come back to working out. And I went and had some x-rays and had an MRI done. At that point in time, the doctor said, yeah, there's been some trauma in that area of your neck, and he recommended me to a neck and back specialist, who then recommended that I go and have some physical therapy done. I spent some time going through physical therapy, traction. Sometimes that would provide me some relief, sometimes not. And then all the while, progressively, things just kind of kept getting worse. About a year into it, at that point in time, I decided that I needed to do something, and the back specialist recommended that I go and have some injections done. He thought that maybe through having some of the injections to take some of that inflammation and some of the swelling down, that things would then start to heal. After about 3 different sessions with injections that lasted over the period of about 4 to 5 months, I realized that was not helping me at all. That was just simply masking the pain for a period of time, and it was not fixing it as far as the root cause issue. I started going to a chiropractor, a great sports chiropractor. As a matter of fact, he's now a good friend of mine. I continue to go to him. He helped to try to get my spine more in alignment, to get the natural curvature in my neck going in the right kind of right degree angle. And that actually did help for some time. I actually did that for about 1.5 years. And then all along the way, things kind of just, as far as progress, it kind of steadied out, and then just kind of started going the other way on me. And so all the while, I tried to continue to be active. I've tried to continue to work out, not letting it control me in any way. Thinking that activity would be helpful, and I'm convinced that has actually helped me. I've not let it control me, like I said, and I've just kind of pushed through. But over time, things have progressively gotten worse. I used to do a lot of long distance running. I've had to stop that because just the jarring, the pounding, it just really hurts. I should probably explain the pain a little bit more to you. The pain is always there. It's a constant pressure that's always in the back of my neck. Sometimes worse than others, but always there, never gone. If I lay down at night, it takes a long time to try to find any position that is comfortable enough so that I can, really get any rest or sleep at all. At times when it flares up worse than others, the pain not only goes right down through the back side of my arm pretty strongly. At times it's almost like an intense burning pain. And then I have pins and needles and that'll run in in a numbness. It'll run right down my arm and right between my my finger and my thumb, right through this area here. It'll go pretty numb. And so I've gotten very creative at times. You learn to do things like this to try to get the pain up off during the days. Different ways that I can sit to take some of the pain off, but it's constantly always there. Sometimes it's really a debilitating type of a pain. I just go through all that detail because maybe some of those symptoms would be helpful to you. So recently I decided that I really needed to do something different. I'm in my mid-40s, not even my mid-40s yet. I've got lots of years left and a lot of things that I want to be able to do with my family and my friends. I'm actually a head coach, a wrestling coach, and so having this progressively get worse and alter my lifestyle is just not the plan at this point in time. So I was referred through lots of research. And that's one thing I would suggest. Lots of research is very helpful. I will also say it can be a little dangerous at times too, because you'll run across information that may not necessarily be helpful or accurate. So, really finding somebody that they know what they're doing. I ended up going to a surgeon who is a orthopedic spine surgeon as well as a nerve specialist, and he specializes in these areas of neck and back cervical issues. So I really plus very helpful. My chiropractor friend told me, listen, if I had to have surgery, this is the person that I would go to. So that was a very strong, helpful vote of confidence. He sent me for another series of MRIs, came back and said, yeah, you have a severe disc herniation, specifically between C5 and 6, as well as some in between C6 and 7. It's actually closed down the nerve canal that goes down that left side, so that's what's impending on that nerve, as well as it's pushing into your spinal canal there. He suggested, because there is no, for me, degeneration above C4 or below C7, he said that I would be a great candidate for a disc replacement rather than a fusion, which is something I was not interested in, just given that you got the hardware in there that has to be affixed with a titanium plate with a way to fix it in there between the disc above and below it, which I'd done some research and saw that long-term effects of that may not necessarily be good. But if that's if I wasn't a candidate for a disc replacement, then that is something that I would need to really think about having. But the procedure that he's recommending for me, which will actually take place on July the 10th, which is next Tuesday, is a disc replacement, a 2-level disc replacement, and using a device called a Mobi-C. And the Mobi-C, it's kind of a titanium plate that goes above and one below, and then the artificial disc that goes right in between. The benefits of that is I'll still have my full range of mobility best way. It's somewhat non-invasive in that they'll make an incision through the front, take my airway and move it over, go in through the front, completely remove those discs, replace them. There's really no hardware that will go into my bone. There's got like little alligator teeth that will go up into the cartilage above and below that keeps it fixed in place. Recovery is supposed to be better in this instance, along with just full release to all of even the athletic activities and stuff that I like to do. And so that was very encouraging to me. My friend that I mentioned, Chris Collins, also had the exact same procedure, and he has seemed to have done really well, both post as well as a couple of years later. So that was a good testimonial to me. Like I said, that surgery is set for next Tuesday. I'm a little nervous about it. In that you just completely don't know what to expect. Even with all the research and the study that I've done, there are obviously risks. This is not something that you go into lightly. You do a lot of research, and because you are taking on some of those risks, you want to make sure that what you're doing is absolutely necessary and it's worth the risk. And for me, it is. And so, I go in praying for and hoping for the best, and Lord willing, we'll have a full recovery, and I'll be doing a video again just like this, just post that surgery, so that it can be helpful as well. So I will go in on the 10th. I will be out as early as later on that night of the 10th, maybe not until the next morning. Just have to see how things go and how I react to the procedure. So as much as there are some concerns with it that that I need to be aware of, there's also a lot of hope. So my daughter said the schedule for the surgery was originally July 5th, and the day after Independence Day. And when my daughter heard it, she said, "Dad, it's your Independence Day," because this has really been something for me that has been just a burden that I've had to bear here over the past few years. But the surgery was moved to July 10th. I'm still thinking of it as more of my Independence Day. So, I'm pretty active, and sometimes I can be a little bit strong-willed. My wife has said that her biggest concern for me is not the surgery and the operation itself, but that I won't behave myself, and I'll end up injuring myself somewhere along the way around recovery. Recovery is supposed to take about, first week will be a little bit tough. I'm planning on, a couple of weeks out of work here. We'll see how that goes. I have the ability to do a little bit of work from home. My work has been very accommodating and very caring for me, and wanting to make sure that I, get what I need and can then get back to where, I need to be. So they'll even allow me to work from home a little bit if I'm not ready to come back right at the end of that 2-week period. But we'll see how it goes. As far as full release, I'll have to do some physical therapy. Full release to do really any activity that I want to do looks like probably about 2 to 4 months out. So one of the concerns for me is to get this done in early enough so that wrestling season starting up in November, right after Thanksgiving, that I be completely clear and not having any, just being able to get in and demonstrate some of the moves and not be limited in that way. So that's one of the goals for me, along with I'm leading a missions trip in Jamaica in November, in the very beginning of November. So I wanted to be in decent shape for that. So that's the plan. I hope this is helpful to you. And I will plan to post another documentary post right after surgery, and then sometime later, just so you can kind of see the full journey that I've gone through. So that's it. Thank you.